Close the door behind you. You're now in the green room.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Green Room. I'm your host, Keddy Emmanuel. I am in here today with Devonne, Dr. Devonne on Instagram. You're going to see his username pop up here. Make sure you go follow him, show him some love. And if you're watching this and you love the cadence, Caribbean cadence, make sure to follow us, like, share, and subscribe. Right. So me and Devonne are in here. We're going to have a discussion. We're going to talk a little bit about the platform. We're going to talk about music. We're just going to hang out. The green room is about going beyond social media and actually connecting with people. And if this is your first time joining us, make sure to check out some of our past episodes. It's been a good time. It's been a good run. And I think you'll enjoy some of the discussions I've had over the years. So, Doc, I hope you don't mind me calling you Doc.
That's fine with me.
Go ahead and give the people a short introduction to yourself, a little bit about you, a little bit about your music, your life as a bass guitarist.
So my name is Devonne Paul. I'm 25 years old. I've been playing music since the age of 9 years. I started on guitar. My dad taught me. And when I was in high school or secondary school, when I was like 15, 16, thereabout, I used to play bass in church for a friend of mine. And I used what I learned from guitar into bass. And then from that itself, I just developed a little skill in bass, but I was just playing in church because we only had like one keyboard player and one drummer. And I played guitar, but we needed a bass man. So I just switched up and, I ended up playing bass. And then even at school, we had a little school band and they needed a bass player as well.
Let me slow the story down a little bit, right? Because I don't often get the chance to speak to other Lucians, right, in the green room. So true. I'm going to maximize this opportunity.
Talk to me.
And ask you some questions. So when you said church, what church exactly are you referring to there?
Oh, Church of God.
Oh, Church of God. Okay.
Yeah,
Which
Church
is
of God.
Located where?
Main branch is at Entrepot. It's actually next to the Entrepot school, that big blue building. I don't know if you ever passed there before.
I think so.
Yeah, so that's the church. That's where, it all started.
So your dad was a guitarist, right?
Yeah, still is.
All right, cool. I'm always jealous, man, when I talk to people. The parents are instrumentalists, and come from the whole musical family thing, I think it's really cool. Yeah, but carry on with the story.
Yeah, sure. So how did I ended up playing bass full time was before, on my last year in secondary school, my music teacher, he had this steel pan group. I want to give a shout out to Al one time.
All right.
He was my music teacher at the time, and he had a steel pan group called Epic Steel, and it was consisting of a few pans, tenor, some cellos, and bass man, and a keyboard player. So it was kind of different from how everybody knows an all steel pan group. He had a little mixture of electric bass and keyboardist in the mix. So he needed a bass player, and he told me, "Hey, I need you for a gig. These are the list of songs. I know you're capable of learning it. Handle that for me and come to the gig."
Where had he seen you play before? How did he know? Okay. So you were playing at school before, okay.
Yeah, so he was my music teacher at the time. And he noticed, I was a little bit, how can I put it? I wasn't too strong on bass, but I could hold a few notes and a few chords, whatever.
Right.
And he saw that I was, I guess, able or good enough to do the gig. I was not confident about it, but I was like, why not give it a shot? Chance to make a little bit of money, whatever.
Right.
And we did the gig at what was called Smuggler's Cove at the time.
I've been
I
there.
was in, that was in like 2013. Yeah, about that. So that's when I did the first gig, and that's where the journey started for me as a bass player. That's where it all started.
That's amazing to me how, and I keep saying this, and I might just say this on every episode, but it's amazing to me how every time I speak to a musician, their story is always connected to somebody else's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when I spoke to Ronald Buhingson, he mentioned early on in his journey, his mom sat with him with same thing with her guitar, because she played guitar as well, and from there, like as all musicians go along, it's always a story of people. It's a story of opportunities that were given. And I want to just stop and just make this announcement. You have to be a nice person in the you have to be, because
So.
I've never met a very talented musician that was cocky or annoying or had an air about them.
I've met a few. There's definitely a bunch of them.
Yeah, man, but
not too much, but yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like at a certain level, people are hiring you not just because you're talented, but because you're also fun to play with. You're also fun to be around, right?
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's an element that sometimes goes overlooked, Yeah, so after Smuggler's Cove, right? This journey begins, and now you're playing with this band, right?
Yeah.
But you said that this is where your consideration for going into music full time started. So how do we make that connection from starting with this steel pan band and you deciding, wait a minute, I got paid for this gig. How can we make this a career?
How can I put this? So, all right. When I started, I never thought about it too much or even considered doing music full time. I always saw it as a part-time thing where, I still have school to do, I still have other studies that I want to get done for. And my uncle, who is a guitarist, I don't know if you know him, Zach Popo.
Oh, yeah.
He always told me, doing music here, well, at the time, doing music in St. Lucia full time, there's only a level set of musicians that will always get a set of gigs, and you cannot depend on music fully here in St. Lucia. You might just be, crippling yourself or setting yourself short on some things where it won't be, how can I put this? It won't be a career where you would be making a lot of money for it.
Yeah,
especially with
the whole struggling artist thing.
Yeah, struggling artists, and the thing with a lot of different bands at the time was cutting prices to get this other band's gig or whatever. So like, let's say if this hotel is paying this band a sum of money for that amount of hours or whatever, another band will come and say they'll do something better for less money. So they had a lot of cutthroat going around back in those times. And musicians here in St. Lucia, I would say let's fight down each other, but the older generation had this thing where they always wanted to be better than each other or whatever, but that's another story. But yeah, so my uncle always told me that to focus on school and, push yourself further in something or find a career in something different, but other than music, I could still do music, put it as a side. So that's what I tried to do until I was doing music for like a year, playing bass for 1 year. And then I went to Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. And on my last year at Sir Arthur, before my final exam, I got a call from a friend of mine, a keyboard player. Shout out to Jardy one time. He called me while I was on my break at class, and he told me if I would consider doing cruise ships. And I'm like, cruise ships? I tell him not really, but what's the gig like? And he told me it pays such and such an amount. He's going with those set of musicians, and it's with Norwegian. And I'm like, whoa, that's a big step.
Yeah.
So I didn't even leave college yet. I was on my last exam, and then I got the offer to travel the world and make a little bit of money, and do music as a full-time job.
So what year was this?
That was 2018.
All right. Jade, he's also a videographer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to give him a quick shout out. I really appreciate his work. He's a very skilled videographer. So y'all check him out. I'll put his username right here. It's floating past the screen. And also, if you're watching this on Facebook, wherever you're watching this, the link will be in the description. So go check out Jade as well. So
Yep.
So now you've gotten this offer. And this last exam, did you do the last exam? Or you said
I did the last exam, but as soon as I did the exam, 2 weeks after, I flew off to Barbados to get my visa, and then the week after, I flew off to join the ship. So I was not even there for graduation. I was I was on a ship, living my best life, making some money, and doing music as a full-time career, full-time job.
Great.
Which was not planned. I was just like, maybe I should just give it a try and whatnot. And then boom, bam.
Tell me out though. What were you studying at SAFA before you went over?
I did quantity surveying.
Okay. Because don't they offer music at SAFA? Is that not offered there?
Probably it used to be offered as an elective, but not a standard course.
Okay.
If you had to do music as a course itself, like getting your grade 1s and grade 2s or whatever it is, you would have to go through School of Music.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So School of Music would be handling that aspect, but at SAFA, nah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, man, I can definitely, first of all, I want to roll back a little bit and definitely agree with you in terms of, the reservation of folks to do music full time, right? Because in my story, even in Form 1, I wanted to learn the piano. I wanted to learn the keyboard. And I didn't have anybody to teach me. And I was denied the opportunity to go to the School of Music. So that's how I ended up on bass, right? And then
makes sense.
Because that's what I got the opportunity to learn. And then I fell in love with bass. And then even while I was in college, I was playing, on Sundays at different churches and stuff. And I was like, I'm using this to pay for my bills. I could just do this, And
True.
I was discouraged. Like, nah, you should do what you're doing, So it's definitely a thing. And I think it's valid, right? That, currently for a lot of people, it is difficult to have music as a career. But a lot of people don't know that it is a possibility. If you're good at what you do, there are options, There are options, and I want to really stress that. But let's just keep diving into your journey. So now you're on the ship, right? You wrote that last exam, and you're on the ship. Tell us a little bit about your experience, right?
So ship life, I did not know really what to expect. When I got there, it was a whole different scenery for me. I'm like, whoa. The ship is big. My first contract was on the Norwegian Escape. That's one of the big ships. And I was like, it's like a hotel on water. Got to the room and I sat there for a little bit. I'm like, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually on a ship. Like, this is about to happen. And we signed on and we went straight into work in the evening. So just like a normal gig in a hotel here, in a resort, whatever. We have our set list of what we're gonna play for the evening. So I was with a party band. The name of the band was Groove Addiction at the time. I don't know if the band leader has changed it by now. I'm not with them anymore. But so we already had the list of songs and we were rehearsing from home already. And when we got there, got to the lounge, we had a nice little small little stage, well set up. Had this big bass amp, hard K, beautiful. Love that amp so much.
Yeah,
I wish I could have taken it home with me. I wish I could have taken it home with me.
Yeah.
Hard K amp, and I plugged up and tested my bass. And
What bass were you playing at the time?
Game. At the time, I had a Ibanez SD50. SD50, yeah. That was my first bass that I bought. Yeah. Ibanez SD50, if memory serves me right. Yeah.
That's a 5-string.
I bought it
right?
from that was a 5.
Yeah.
That was a 5-string. So that I played that bass for I think 3 months into the contract, and then I bought my Saya. When I bought the Saya now, that's when everything changed. That's when everything changed. I got a feel of a whole brand new bass, and that's when it really it motivated me to start practicing more and start pushing myself. And that's when I used to sit down in my cabin and then learn different songs, practice scales, whatever, and then started building myself.
Yeah.
I never used to really practice much before, like when I was in St. Lucia, but then the feel of a new bass gives you that excitement and motivation to just push and push and push. So that's what happened to me on my first contract when I got the bass the first time, and then started building up myself. So I would say the majority of my practice time where I really pushed myself was during my ship contract.
Okay. Yeah, man. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Saya. They're not paying us for this, but but Saya bass, man, it's literally the best. It's the best you can get for the price point by far.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it makes a good bass for any beginner bass player.
Oh yeah,
very good.
Yeah, man.
The sound is amazing. The feel is amazing. And if you know how to look for what tone you're looking for on your dials, then top notch.
My only reservation that I've had, because I have a Saya V7, the first generation. I didn't get it with the, you know how they have this whole curved feel with the fretboard now with the second generation V7s. But yeah, man, my only issue with it is once you get start getting towards the body of the bass, right? Towards the higher piece of the fretboard, if you're trying to chord and you're sliding up into chords and stuff, to me the fretboard there feels a little pressed, a little, close. But aside from that, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. It's just out of the box. It's ready to go. So I love the Saya tone and stuff, and yeah, man. And I've heard you play it. You know, I think the first feature on the platform back when Caribbean Cadence was Lucian musicians. Yeah, you were playing. I think it was some gospel song, some Israel song, on the Saya.
That was My Strength by Israel Houghton.
Yeah.
I did the cover of that. I posted that on YouTube. That's when I was really practicing. I was like, maybe I should do a cover. Yeah. And then I did that, and then it just took off from there.
Yeah.
I want to shout out to you, bro. You always repost my videos. Always. I want to shout out to you. Shout out to you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Always
man.
reposting. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support, Yeah,
it's a pleasure doing what
musicians.
we do. Nah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure doing what we do, man. And it's so great being a part of the team now with shout out to Ellie, shout out to Makayo. There's a growing team just running this platform. And it's been humbling to even start this. I remember where I was when I saw that feature. I was actually at an airport. I think I was connecting on a flight. I think either heading up to somewhere or back from somewhere. But I think I was in Atlanta. And I was on the airport literally scouting, because that's how I used to do it, just scouting for Instagram, like, you know, what's going on, who has some of the latest stuff. And I remember seeing that feature, and I was walking like, who is that, man? Yeah, man, it sounded good, man. So yeah.
Thank you. I try. I cannot play like that anymore, but yeah.
Nah, you still can. You still can. I'm not going to buy that. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you sound just
I
as
have to
good.
go and practice again, do a whole
Yeah.
month training of practicing to try and make that happen again.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. So now let's fast forward a little bit.
Mhm.
You've now done your first tour on the ship. How did you feel?
Mhm.
This is after your first. How many months did you do, or how long was it?
My first contract was 8 months. Yeah, 8 months.
Okay, so
Long time.
you've been on there for 8 months, right? How did
Yeah,
you
my first
feel after
contract.
that first contract?
I felt good. I had money in my pocket, like no tomorrow. I had a brand new bass. I bought an interface. I bought a lot of stuff, that contributed to me musically. Bought my first Mac and everything. I invested in, cables, a tuner, a pack of strings. Like I bought like a bunch of different packs of different brands. I tried it, Dunlop Super Brights, the
Mhm.
DR Fat Beams, even the neon colored strings I tried. I was just experimenting with different strings to really like try and find my tone.
Mhm.
Yeah, so after that first contract, I invested in a lot of different stuff musically,
So
like
strings wise,
interface, cables.
where did you land on the strings? What brand did you land on?
String wise, I have a little back and forth between Dunlop and the DR strings. I would say it would vary on what I'm looking for at the time. Because with the DR strings and my Saya, I get that low end growl and brightness punch that I look for when I slap in my tone. But when it comes to chords, it's not as clear or as pretty as I want it to be. So that's when the Dunlop Super Brights would come in handy, because then I could, have that versatility of getting that bright end and still have a little punch at the same time.
Okay.
So I usually buy the Dunlop Super Brights from time to time, but I like the DR as well.
All right.
But DR strings. Fat beams preferably.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and you said you bought an interface. What kind did you get? Focusrite, PreSonus?
Focusrite, Scarlett 2Y2.
Yes, sir.
Focusrite all the way.
I'm pretty sure I have the 2i4 here. So this is my baby.
Perfect.
I love this thing.
Perfect. Works magic.
Oh yeah, man. So you've just finished 8 months, right, on the ship. What routes were you guys traveling? Were you just going around the world? Was it the same route?
The first contract, where were we going? Right. It was a 7-day cruise out of Miami. 7-day cruise out of Miami. We sailed to Nassau, Key West, Honduras, and I can't even remember some of the other ports. Oh, on one of the private island called Harvest Key. Yeah. So those were the different islands that we visited to on my first contract. 7 days.
All right. Cool. Now, here's the thing, right? You're telling me about this experience. You're 25. There's there's probably another young musician watching this episode, probably 17, 18, really good, probably from St. Lucia or maybe another Caribbean island. And this person's like, the ship, I could go and travel the world. And, it sounds great. And it is great. It's a great opportunity.
It is. It's a nice experience, actually.
Yeah.
You meet a bunch of different people, musicians, because I met a lot of American. We opened my eyes a lot on different aspects of music, on artists, and a different feel as to being more than just a bass player, but to be, how could I say, an energy within the band that gels with everybody else that's on stage to give that production of just giving a vibe.
Basically increasing your skills for performance, right?
Yeah. Well,
And
not just as like playing wise, as in as a person as well,
okay.
because your energy on stage um, will be reflected onto people that's out there that's listening to you.
Oh yeah.
So, for instance, if the band that always plays together, they go out together, always drinking together or whatever, like always socializing and doing stuff together, the band gels more and they perform more effectively because then they know each other. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say if me and the drummer are close friends and he always does this certain role before a jam or whatever, I would pick up on that instantly and then
Oh
just follow
yeah.
through with him, and that what makes the band tight.
Right.
it,
Right.
it makes the band just on a level, and everybody's watching each other, eye contact, whatever. And sometimes you don't even need the eye contact, like you would just feel when something is going to happen, and then boom, your guys just execute it right on the spot.
Oh yeah.
I've done gigs where um we haven't done no rehearsal, nothing, we just meet up and just do the gig, and the gig comes out like nothing, like easy. So
Yeah.
no repertoire, just call. Sorry, not no repertoire. No rehearsal. Just call the song, the key of the song, and boom bang. That's it.
Yeah, man. That's a beautiful thing, and I've been there, and
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing. And oftentimes, from that kind of environment, you get some friendships that last forever. You know.
yeah. I have some friends that still text me every now and then, always
Mm-hmm.
tell me come to the states, come to the states. Let's jam out, whatever. But stuck here in St. Lucia because of COVID.
Yeah, but that's changing soon, right? That's going to change soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
But my original question there was, I wanted you to tell me, because we've gone through a lot of the pros, and I'm sure people have started to get the gist of the experience, and I agree that it is a great experience. But I want you to tell me some cons, like what are things that, okay, if you had a son who was about to go on the ship tomorrow, what's something you might warn him about?
Well, if it's one thing for sure, racism is a thing on ship where you have to be very careful with people, because we had a bandmaster that tried to make us do stuff that was not part of our contract, and because we refused to do it, he kind of had it out for us. He made everything a issue. He tried to give us more hours to work. um a whole bunch of different messes, man. It was just ridiculous. He would give us like set shifts, like let's say if we're doing a sail away gig at 4 o'clock, that's 4 in the afternoon. We have a gig in the lounge at 6 o'clock. So we beat the hot sun, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, sail away, party vibe. You only have 1 hour to get down, eat, bathe, dress, and get ready, dressed up all nice for the evening at 6 o'clock. That was just crazy. And he never used to do that before. But the fact that we refused him, he just had it out for us. So I would say just be careful with people. Um, Always stand your ground and let them know that this is what you came here to do, and just do your work, back to your room, and you will be fine. Anything else that'd be bad? Um, I can't really think of much because I didn't really had any bad experiences on ship. It was all good. It's just that we had that one incident with the bandmaster, and we had another cruise director that wanted to do things his way, and we already adapted to one way with another cruise director, and he just came with a whole bunch of different concepts that just was not really sitting down easy with the band, and the band was upset about it. And but we made it work. If there's one thing about that band I was working with on ship, they were very adaptable. They didn't want to make anything an issue or a problem. So if they wanted something to happen this way, we would try our best to make it happen one way or the other. So they were adaptable.
All right, cool. Yeah, man. Well, one last question. Well, two more, but one last. regarding your career. What in the next 5 to 10 years, right? Where do you see yourself in terms of your musical career?
That's a very good question. I've never thought about that. Never in my life I thought about that. Next 5 years. With the way things are going on now with the world, if all these diseases and sicknesses, COVID, we have a war happening now.
Yeah.
With Ukraine and Russia. I don't really know what should I really if I should really continue with music, because the way the world is going now, that might be something that might not even be something worth doing for a good amount of money, because a lot of things now with technology increasing are being replaced. So music now is done by DJs. We have a lot of sampling being done, a lot of programs where you could use your computer to play keyboard or whatever. We don't really have much of music being music anymore. So in the next 5 years, I don't know. I'm someone who likes to go with the flow with things. So if an opportunity presents itself, then depending on how I take it, then I would know if to go with it or not. So
yeah, I think that's a very good answer. No, but continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
So it's fine. I was just basically saying that next 5 years, depending on how the world goes, then I'll just adapt to it. And if it pursues me to still do music as a career, then I wouldn't mind, touring with an international artist. That I wouldn't mind. But then I would have to really practice for that. I would really have to push myself into music for that. Currently, I haven't been really playing much I wasn't playing much from last year, but this year, I got the opportunity to work with Vision Band for a little bit, and they've been pushing me to start by practicing and learning songs and whatnot. I still used to do gigs here, there, and everywhere, but it wasn't as much. So, it wasn't as much. So I didn't used to push myself into practicing or learning new songs, or developing my dexterity and whatnot. So I kind of placed music on a pause since COVID happened, because I wasn't working for a while. So no day job, money coming in. So I had to try and find something that was going to be sustainable. So I put music on a pause. So right now I'm just getting back into it, doing more gigs and, trying to get my feel back.
Yeah, and I really appreciate your honesty there, because I think that is the story of a lot of musicians. A lot of musicians watching this right now, I think, have a very similar story, because COVID really shut down everything. And as a planet, we're actually just now trying to begin to see some semblance of life as it was before. And unfortunately, with this war between Russia and Ukraine, it kind of throws everybody into a loop. But, we are resilient people. And I'm happy to hear that, you're at least getting back into gigging a little bit, with that Vision Band. Who's the keyboard player for that band? I'm trying to place the band in my head.
Okay, so the band consists of, I don't know if you know Cian, keyboard player.
Is this the band with the Premier 758?
No. That's a different band. Okay. I actually work with that band as well, but they've been on a pause for a little bit. They've been on a pause for a little bit. But I'm actually holding on for their bass player. Well, the Vision Band, I'm holding on for their bass player. The bass player decided to take a little break. But the band consisted of Dijon playing bass. We have Dunaj on drums, Cian playing keys, and we have two vocalists, Devonne, Pierre, and Deshaun, aka T Blacks. Yeah, he's the artist of the group. So yeah.
So you might remember you might remember the Bruno Mars feature that I pushed out. Give me that, give me that, give me that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Hey guys, let me show you guys that right here, okay?
Give me your attention, baby. I gotta tell you a little something about yourself. You're wonderful, flawless, ooh, you a sexy lady. But you walk around here like you wanna be someone else. Oh, whoa. I know that you don't know it, but you're fine, so fine, fine, so fine. Oh, whoa. Oh, girl, I wanna show you when you're mine, oh, mine, mine, oh, mine. A treasure, that is what you are. Honey, you're my golden star. But you can make my wish come true. If you let me treasure you, if you let me treasure you, oh, oh.
So that video did really well on the platform. I actually met the vocalist in St. Lucia not too long ago. I gave him a shout out. I was like, yo. Yeah, that was a fun feature for sure. But yeah, man, that's it for me. I'm going to ask you two things, and then I'm going to open the floor to you if you have any questions for me. So the last question is, how could Caribbean Cadence serve our musicians in the region even better or go further than we're doing now?
Well, to be honest, so far you guys have been doing a pretty good job. I admire the fact that you guys take clips from different musicians from around the Caribbean, different islands, and you guys showcase their talent and what they do. This brings out more exposure because a lot of people see, the different videos, the views increase, more followers, more likes, where it's like a marketplace for musicians. That's how I see Caribbean Cadence. It's like a marketplace. So you have a video that, you think that is good enough to be out there for somebody to see you, to hit you up for a gig or a recording vibe, if they like your tone, your singing, your playing, whatever it is, you guys have that platform to put out their stuff, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like about you guys' platform. Moving forward, I believe the way that you guys are moving so far, it's gonna become bigger and bigger. And if it gets bigger, that means more followers. That means more people gonna be more into music. You're gonna have a lot more younger musicians that wanna market themselves, and they're gonna be putting out videos, getting themselves out there, and try to see if they can make a career in music as well.
Oh, yeah, and that's the direction of impact that we definitely want to have for sure. You have any questions for me? Anything you want to know?
I always wanted to know what really inspired you to start that whole, from Lucian musicians to Caribbean Cadence.
Caribbean Cadence. So I'll tell you the story. Some people may have already heard this, but for those of you who haven't, the long and short of it is I was 17 and I moved from St. Lucia to the US, right? Mm-hmm. And I used to play at church. I love bass. I always used to be playing. And I in the US now, I started playing for this band at school, right? And my roommate at the time was the drummer. And at that point, live arrangements started to come out. So you had your Sean Wrights and, you
remember that season. I remember that season.
Jan Hunter, Corey Henry.
Darren Devonne.
Yeah, just crazy music. And we used to be in the room just like, just
I think that's the era of Gospel Chops as well.
Oh yeah, Gospel Chops was out and all this stuff was going on. And I really wanted to share these things with my friends in St. Lucia, right? And at the time, I had been experimenting with groups and pages. You know, this is before social media really became what it is today. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I had created a page for my mom's company, I Know the Pictures. You know, I had done a thing. I created a page called Do Do That. Right now, Do Do That has about 2,000 followers. I don't know why they follow. But yeah, so... And in addition to all of this, I created Lucian Musicians. And, you know, I would share these live arrangements on Lucian Musicians. And some of my friends started to invite their friends. And we got to a place where we had about 300 people in there. And started considering doing things like, you know, maybe we should have a shed. We should have, you know, workshops, you know, and stuff like that. And then I left school, started working, you know, and got distracted and stopped. I just stopped. And time went on, social media evolved. And in 2019, basically 2018, 2019, I was like, yo, what am I doing? Lucian Musicians was a whole vibe, you know?
Yeah.
And at that point, I had learned a lot more about social media from my involvement with this ministry called Bridge. And I decided, yo, let me take some of these skills I know and just go back to doing it. And it's something I love doing. I love featuring people. I love discovering new music, discovering new musicians, and making connections with musicians from all around the region, you know, and especially Lucian musicians, you know. It's been a good journey, you know. And I've met and talked to people that I would not have otherwise talked to. And now we have this team of these great guys. I always shout out Ellie and Makayo, who are helping us remain consistent and continue growing. So, Devonne, thank you for joining me. I'm a fan.
Bro.
I'm a fan. Keep doing your thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Keep doing your thing on that side.
I'm nothing to be a fan of. I'm a normal bass player. Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll probably post a little something that have a little something in it. But
post and keep doing your thing, man. Don't be discouraged by COVID, and that doesn't just go for you, but for every other instrumentalist across the region. Don't be discouraged, guys. Same goes for me. I need to pick up my bass way more than I do, and yeah, man. Nice talking to you.
Pleasure is all mine. Right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Folks, you can see another episode of The Green Room next month. You're more than likely seeing this in May. So thank you for watching this. We're actually recording this in April. So thanks for watching, and you'll see us next month in June. So bye for now. Riding with me, I know fit, die for nothing. My brother, what's coming? G-Wagon, all the Bentley, the got riding with me, I know fit. Different things, them happening, schemes and packaging. In a one night for shows, I'm juggling, flow like the ocean, my boats I'm paddling. So the China Bella, that's my bro, my family, frozen chain. When it comes to money, I did concentrate. Make I tell you straight, you are not my mate.